The second time didn't hit me as hard. So here I am again. I've never written publicly before, but this isn't my first time in this situation. The first time, I never received closure or confirmation. Still, after spending countless hours and hundreds on therapy, after years of effort trying to rebuild, I somehow ended up back in the same place. Things between us began unraveling earlier this year. By the summer, the warmth in our relationship had disappeared. Affection became rare. Our connection felt flat and hollow. I assumed maybe it was menopause, tried to be patient, and even asked her directly if something was wrong. But she never opened up. Slowly, all the small gestures I loved so much faded away. She no longer reached for my hand, brushed my hair back, gave me back rubs, kissed me goodnight, or curled up against me on the couch or in bed. That kind of touch, the language that makes me feel loved, was gone. We had addressed it before in therapy, but whenever I tried to initiate closeness, she would pull away. Eventually, I stopped pressing. Day-to-day life was still fine enough, so I let it slide for a while. Months later, I brought up traveling back to my home country for Christmas. That's when she casually told me she had already booked her vacation for the week after Christmas. I couldn't understand why. It felt deliberate, as if her old controlling streak had returned, like she wanted to sabotage the trip. I hadn't seen my family or friends in over 2 years. Why would she deny me that? I asked her to change her dates. She claimed she couldn't. I suggested she work remotely while we were there, but she dismissed that too. Eventually, she reluctantly agreed, though it was obvious she wasn't happy about it. Not long after, we got a last-minute invite to a dinner party. It struck me as odd. We had been left out until just days before. Looking back, I realized she had already known but assumed I would refuse because of the short notice. We went anyway. At first, it was fine. Friendly people, good food, plenty of laughter. But as the night stretched on and the crowd thinned, I saw it. Across the table, right in front of me. I caught them, and I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I said nothing. I simply carried on my own conversation, all while quietly watching. Inside, though, I felt crushed. But strangely, this time was different. Instead of breaking down, my emotions shut off. Instead of pain, I felt clarity. Suddenly everything made sense. Earlier in the year, she had been supporting one of her friends, a man whose partner was going through a rough time. She texted him constantly, offering him comfort and attention. Now, sitting at that table, it all clicked. If they could act like that in front of me while I was sober, what did they do when I wasn't around? He touched her back, leaned in close, and she welcomed it. When we finally left after 2 a.m., she scolded me, blaming me for ruining the night by leaving late. Then she stormed off to bed, giving me her usual cold shoulder. The next morning, I tested the waters. I said casually, "People were pretty drunk last night. Looked like he was hitting on you." She brushed it off instantly. I pressed just a little. "Well, he was rubbing your back." She looked at me, not with guilt, not with sadness, but with blank denial. That silence gave me all the confirmation I needed. A few days later, she mentioned bumping into him in town. She said he was on a date with another woman and had asked her not to tell anyone. With that, the last piece clicked into place. I didn't need more proof. The decision was already made in my head. I simply stayed quiet, because there wasn't much left to say. D-Day was coming soon. The first time, I had no hard evidence. Only lies, gaslighting, and disrespect. But I stayed. I stayed because I was dependent, because I wanted to believe it could be repaired. And for a while, it was. We even had a 1.5 years of progress before everything began to crumble again. But this time, I'm different. I've gained clarity, awareness, and self-respect. I'm not angry anymore. I'm relieved. Relieved that my instincts were right, that I'm not broken, no matter how she tried to make me feel. She painted me as untrustworthy, unlovable, cold. For too long, I carried that weight. But it was never true. Now, the divorce is final. I moved into a new house just last week. The legal process wasn't overly complicated, though we were forced to live under the same roof for months while the bank worked through mortgages and paperwork. In the end, she walked away with half of what I owned, including my dream home. But I didn't have the energy to fight anymore. I stopped caring about possessions, about winning. Those final months were strange. On the surface, life looked unchanged. Same dinners, same shows, same casual talk. But I had stopped trying to fix us. She still threw sharp remarks, little jabs slipped into normal conversations. Instead of hating me, they reminded me I was right to leave. Before I moved, I called my in-laws. I wanted to part on good terms, to apologize for how things ended. They didn't know details, but they were kind. They thanked me for being part of their family and told me they wanted to stay in touch. That meant the world to me. Even our mutual friends chose not to pick sides. They quietly supported me. When I came back for the last of my belongings and handed over the keys, she looked at me like I was a stranger. Maybe she thought she got the better deal, but I walked away content. I took what truly mattered and left the rest. Now, I've given myself time. I've taken a few quiet days away from work to breathe, to reflect. I cried a couple of times, but less than I expected. The loneliness still lingers, but it doesn't crush me anymore. I'm not looking to date, not looking to distract myself. Right now, it's about me, my healing, my growth. I've lined up months of therapy ahead because I want to rebuild from the inside out. Oddly enough, the agony of last summer was a hidden blessing. I had already processed so much grief back then. So now, the pain is gentler. The waves still come, but they don't knock me down. Our toddler is adjusting slowly, and that's what matters most. As for my ex, I genuinely hope she finds her peace someday. For me, this chapter is closed.